I'm Crescent. Welcome to my garden. If you're new to my channel, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I love growing things, especially outside in my garden. I've had a lot of mental health issues and I've gone through cancer, and I think I have a lot of life experiences that I can share with others. So if you're new, welcome. Do me a favor and like and subscribe and hit the bell. When you do that, it allows other people to see the videos. Trees. We're talking trees here today, guys. Let me tell you about trees. They're much like us. They're mostly water. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and they have a lifespan up to 80 years. They stand upright like we do. They have a crown on top, and they have limbs that move from their trunks. The pattern of our lungs is similar to a tree's root system. While we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, trees breathe in the carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So we really are working together. Another thing trees and people have in common is they're able to get sick and have diseases. If you didn't know, I am a breast cancer survivor, and at the end of this video, I will share my At the end of this video, I will share my story of my diagnosis. Let's get started. So the first thing you're gonna need is a space. These trees are semi-dwarf, so I'm not gonna need a massive area for them to grow in. Today we're gonna be planting this dwarf pink lady apple tree. It's one of my favorite apples. It's a sweet yet tart apple. Before you start planting, there are a few things that you need to consider. First of all, you need to consider that it's going to get sunlight. I am doing this in the evening, so it is in the shade, but for the rest of the day, the sun shines on this spot. One thing people tend to do mistake-wise when planting trees is they just dig a hole that the tree will fit in, okay? That's not gonna work, and I'll tell you why. This was just packed in wood chips, damp wood chips, which is fine. If you buy a tree in a pot, it's gonna be in dirt, okay? So you want to plant your tree, however it comes packaged to you, 2 times the diameter of the tree itself. I've determined where I want my tree to go, and now I'm just gonna clear out the mulching that I have here. And you're just gonna take your dirt and you're gonna put it over here to the side, because you're gonna fill that back in. Your tree needs to have the same soil that it's going to live in. A lot of people make a mistake and will add compost or, bag soil to this when they plant a tree. You don't want that, because you want your tree to get used to the ground that it's in now. You don't want your tree to be like, oh, I love this added nutrients and soil and everything, because what's gonna happen is after you add that, it's gonna use up all the nutrients in that, and then it's gonna go to your normal ground and it's gonna be like, ew, there's nothing good here. So you wanna go ahead and just backfill with the soil that you're using. So I'm gonna continue to dig this hole. I told you before, I have rocky soil. Look at this beast. Look at this beast. And there's probably 3 more and a whole bunch. Look at all these rocks. I've dug my hole deeper than I normally would because I have rocks. And I wanted to make sure that my tree and its roots will flourish. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you what you don't want to do. You want to take your tree and just put it down in the hole. You want to just bury your tree to where, right here where the roots are, that it is just flush with the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and start backfilling some of the soil back into my hole until I think it's ready for my tree to be put in. You don't want your tree to be buried too deep down because you don't want the water to flow down in it and flood the roots and rot them. And you also don't want a big mound of dirt over it. You want it to be just flush, just laying flush with the ground. Now you do need to, you know, make sure that you're compacting the soil a little bit, you know, not much. You don't want to like put a steamroller down on it or anything, but you do want to make sure that it is secure. This is pretty much done. You're supposed to let your fruit continue on if it produces. You're supposed to pluck it off the first year or two. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, Harvesting Hope and Peace, please do. In 2007, I noticed that I had a little bump inside my breast, my left breast. I felt weird. I'm like, this kind of feels like a little BB. It's kind of, you know, size of a pea. And so I said, well, I better go to the doctor and just, you know, check it out. I went to my normal doctor and he did an exam and he said, that's an cyst. So it, you know, it might stay there for a while. It could go away, but you have nothing to worry about. So fast forward, I moved to Utah. It's 3 years later. I was in the shower and I was washing up and everything, and I felt it and it never went away. And I felt it and I'm like, gosh, this just seems like it's changed. It's no longer just kind of pea-sized. It feels kind of like maybe a dime size. And so I thought, that's really weird. And then I'm like feeling it. I'm like, did it really grow? And then I thought, oh, I've just touched it enough that it's swollen. So I'll look at it in the morning. The next morning when I woke up, it was still big. So I took a Sharpie marker, because I'm just crazy, and I circled it. A few days later, I was in the shower and, you know, was washing again and looked down and I said, I think this has grown. It's outside my Sharpie marker circle. And I was like, no way. So then I said, okay, let's draw another Sharpie circle. So I first outlined the first one dark again because it was fading, and then I circled around the next one. Well, it had grown. And so I thought, oh, I'll just wait one more week and see what happens. Well, at the end of that week, it grew even more. So then I thought, well, dang it, I probably should go back to the doctor. So I went to my doctor. He did an exam and he said, well, it could be an cyst, like, you know, your other doctor said. Let's try and drain it. And so he went and got a syringe and a needle and he, you know, poked it in there and he's moving it around and he's like trying to, you know, get something out of that, you know, suck something up, and it's not working and it's hurting. And I'm like, oh, I don't think it's like hard. It just felt like, you know, like hard rock that it was like trying to go into. And I was like, I don't think this is working. And he goes, well, I think maybe you should have an ultrasound. And so he said, let's get you an ultrasound. I made an appointment and I was able to get into the hospital that very same day, later in the afternoon. And I went to the ultrasound appointment. Radiologist came in. He said, I don't know. I think this could be something else. I think you should probably have a mammogram. I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, and actually, I think I can squeeze you in right now. It's just down the hall. So I, you know, keep my little gown thing on and I go around in the little waiting room and I'm sitting with a bunch of, you know, white-haired old ladies, and, you know, they're smiling and I'm smiling and I'm like, this is really weird. We're all, you know, kind of half naked, you know, just smiling at each other. And I had my turn, and you know, they come in there, and if you have never had one, it's not scary at all. They stand you up and they lift up your breast and they place it down on this like plate type thing, and then there is another plate thing that just comes down and it just squishes your breast flat. And it's only for just a brief moment that it's flat, and then they take the picture. And so I had to wait just a few minutes, and then the doctor came back in the waiting room and called me, and he's like, I think we need to biopsy it. And I said, okay, so where do I make an appointment for that? And he's like, I actually am gonna go ahead and do it right now. So I go back into the room where they first did the scan, and I lay on the table, and he pulls out this like long, skinny, metal looking thing. And I was like, what the heck is that thing? And he's like, oh, it's how we're gonna do the biopsy. And on the end of this long metal pole is a little tiny claw. And you know, it's pointy at the end. And then through the end, this little claw like this comes out, grabs what it needs to, goes back out, and then they can take that. Oh, before it comes back out, they leave a metal clip in you. So I think I ended up with like 9 clips. So they biopsied 9 different areas in my breast. Well, it didn't numb you or anything. It hurt, man. I was like, oh. Then he tells me, I need you to go back and get one more mammogram because I have to see where the clips are and whatnot. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do that. And he looked at me, he goes, I know. And he's like, you're pretty red and it's pretty swollen. So he gives me these ice packs and puts me back into the hallway with all the white-haired, you know, old ladies again. And they're kind of just looking at me because I have these ice packs, and I'm, again, you know, like I'm uncomfortable, and you know, I'm like, I gotta go home. My babysitter has been there for like 3 hours now, and you know, and I only, you know, gave her instructions until like noon, and now it's, you know, 2:30 in the afternoon, and here comes my dog. Holy cow, he's running. Oh, he had a bath. Oh, a bath. Anyway, so I don't you dare roll in the dirt. Get out of there. Posey, out. Go in the house. Go in the house. I go back in there, and I'm laying down, and he starts to scan again, and he says, I'm pretty sure that this is cancer. And I looked at him, and I'm like I didn't hear him, and I'm like, can you say that again? And he's like, I think it's cancer. And I said, breast cancer? And he said, yeah, breast cancer. And I was like, I'm 34 years old. I have 2-year-olds at home. How can I have breast cancer? He said, no, I'm pretty sure that you have it, and we're gonna do some blood work on you now and send you to the lab, and we'll probably know within a day or so. Oh, you're gonna hate me for this, but it's to be continued. So you'll have to watch the next episode in order to find out what happens. So until next time, my friends, get your hands dirty, plant love, grow hope, and harvest peace.